What's up guys, and welcome back to my dungeon. Today I'm going to review the GTX 1660 Super. This is a very important part of this GPU roundup. Going from the bottom of the Nvidia lineup, this is the first card that can be considered 1440p ready, even in RAID. You will be impressed by the result. So, let's get started. As you can see here, the card is very small. In comparison with the bigger sister, the RTX 2080, this is like half. But now, let's get more into the details. This is a dual slot, dual fan, with a heat pipe heatsink. We have the 8-pin power connector, 3 display port, and 1 HDMI. This part is plastic, but the overall build quality is pretty nice. And I'm sure that if I didn't break it already, it's going to last for years. So now, let's go check the numbers. Our first chart is the usual open world benchmark. Our 1660 Super is well positioned with an average of 106 FPS and 73 FPS of 1% lows, not very far from the RTX 2060 and around 20% more than the little sister, the 1650 Super. At quality 7, we have an overkill 187 FPS with 119 FPS for the 1% lows. So, unless you have a very high refresh rate display, you can enjoy the quality 10. In Dungeon, the 1660 Super once again is performing quite well with 126 FPS on average and 64 FPS of 1% lows, right in the middle between the RTX 2060 and the 1650 Super. At quality 7, we are again in the overkill zone, with an average of 166 FPS and 87 of 1% lows, same as earlier. You can enjoy the extra details of quality 10.
But I never imagined she was capable of this.
All that matters now is her
Right. How will I regain people's trust when they learn of the horrors my family has committed?
Anyone else gives you problems, a swift crack to the head will run it. Attend to our guests.
In RAID, the 1660 Super is surprisingly close to the RTX 2060 with an average of 107 FPS and 67 1% lows, versus the 110 FPS on average and 71 of 1% lows of the bigger sister, the RTX 2060. The 1650 Super is behind with a good 30% of performance gap. Lowering the quality to 7, we gain only 20 FPS, with an average of 131 and 80 FPS of 1% lows. If you have a G-Sync display, going down with the detail, in my opinion, is unnecessary, since you will have a perfectly smooth gameplay at quality 10. Now let's step up the game with the 1440p resolution. With an average of 85 FPS and 62 of 1% lows, this GPU showed us that it's capable of driving a QHD display. The gap between the 1660 Super and the bigger cards is relevant, but doing world quests at this resolution is clearly possible even at quality 10. And honestly, if you like questing or simply exploring the world, in QHD the game is much better than in 1080p. In Dungeon, we have again an average in the mid-80s, with the 1% lows at 47. The overall gameplay is pretty smooth, even with G-Sync disabled. In big fight, you may have a framerate drop, but you won't really notice if you don't have the FPS counter active. Riding in QHD isn't really a walk in the park, since the new rides are much heavier now, but once again, with an average of 67 FPS and 47 of 1% lows, you won't have any issue even in the most stressful situation. In this case though, I recommend a G-Sync display with this card to have an even better experience. If you notice, I didn't insert any overclocking results. That is because the gain is around 2 or 3 FPS, so completely unnecessary.
roar from these ancient wards. Rattle the chains that bind him.
Regarding the noise, this card is one of the most silent that I ever tried so far. We have a gaming temp of around 71 degrees and the fan at stock settings will barely step up. We had around 38% with a super quiet 32.9 dBA. Alright, if you are thinking to buy one, you have my approval, especially if you have a G-Sync or a G-Sync compatible monitor. Moving from 1080p to 1440p is a big jump, and also moving from 60Hz to 75Hz or more, so my advice for this card is to go with a 1440p with 70Hz or more and with G-Sync compatible. In my next video you will see the full review, so not only World of Warcraft, of the Power Color RX 5600 XT Red Devil, and this is a very nice card, so I'm pretty sure you won't miss that. And now, like the video if you like it, drop a comment if you have any question or join my Discord server and subscribe for more. And see you in the next one.